Okay, so I talk a lot about art books. I'm always preaching the art book. So I thought I'd share my art book library plus any other extra art books that I believe are really efficient and very well suited to teach you fundamentals, to get you to practice, to get you to learn and draw every day. So let's just jump into it. I just took a picture of my bookshelf. There's a lot of stuff. The ordering is this whole side here. My desk is over here on the left. So here is where most of like my useful books are, and then here are like the books that I don't really use that much. But let's get started. So starting on this left side, we're just gonna go one by one going through these first section here. This is the main batch right here. This is good. This is gonna be the main batch right here. So this first one, I forgot what it was called, but it was like animation techniques, character drawing. It's basically the book from Tenten on Twitter. This is like a huge, like 500 page, 700 page book that has a bunch of details, and it breaks down anatomy. It breaks down all of the figures. So if you want to know character drawing, this is the book, and also 3D form and shading and lighting. So this is a huge inspiration. This is where I draw. This is where I learned how to draw like my torsos, and also even my arms. Just a lot of like the anatomy and having things looking very brick heavy. The other one, so this next one here is this one, and this is, you can see how like bent and creased, and I have it taped up and stuff. I've copied every single page of this book multiple times. I've gone through it once, and then I restarted and I went through it a second time. And this is just a collection of Yoshinari's sketches. He's one of the animators he started at Studio Gainax, and then now he's at Studio Trigger. He did Little Witch Academia and all that kind of stuff. So if you've seen my channel, you know that I'm a big fan of this guy's work. So I've copied every single drawing in this sketchbook multiple times. The purpose of that, you'll see like, oh, what am I learning from that? I'm learning, one, repetition, just getting your mileage in, getting a lot of practice in. But two is that I'm learning design, I'm learning proportion, I'm learning how to, like, what energetic sketches look like, all of that fun stuff. This one here is more academic, Rocky's anatomy drawing class. I got this one. I haven't gone through this whole thing, but I'm, just going through it whenever I need anatomy knowledge, or whenever I'm like, okay, I'm feeling like I want to study some anatomy, I'll go through this. This one is all in English, so it's a good read too, even though I don't really read the books, and you'll see why, because a lot of my books are in different languages. And even if they are in English, or even if I can read the language, I'm just like, I'm here to draw, man. I'm not here to read. This isn't English literature. Here, this thin one is just a companion for this one. It's like a workbook for it. I don't really use it. I just draw my sketchbook. This book here, this one was a recommendation from when I went to Watt's Atelier. And by the way, there's like, there's artistic nudity in here. When I was here, my teacher told me to look at the more advanced students, or even the pros and the teachers' design techniques, and to basically learn the way they design the shadow mapping or the shadow shapes. So I have this book, and I copy from it to learn in real life figure drawing how to hold the pencil, how to get the types of strokes, like how to get, and also how to design. So for example, this shadow mapping of the knee, it's like, okay, so cool, like this is informing anatomy, but also informing the hard edges with the soft edges, and the types of charcoal strokes, hand strokes. This one is a good one that I've copied from. And then we continue. Miss Jisoo from Super Annie. This was one of my first art books when I first started. I didn't know what I needed to study or anything, but I liked her art, so I just bought it and I just tried copying from it. It was not good because I didn't know fundamentals really at this point, but they were fun. It was a good starting place. It kept me interested. That's the other thing too. It's like, you need to figure out what inspired you to draw, and then what inspires you now to draw. If it's manga, if it's anime, if it's real life stuff, if it's, drawing cats or whatever. And then just keep doing that. Keep doing that as your main meal, and then include in a little bit of, you know, your vegetables, which is fundamentals and stuff on the side. But if you're getting lost in the vegetables and it's not fun anymore, then just go back to drawing the fun stuff. So it's like, oh, I think drawing boxes and drawing perspective is boring, then stop doing it. Just grab your favorite manga or whatever and then just copy from that. And who cares if the fundamentals are off or if you don't understand it, just copy, and if you're having fun, then you're having fun. Because I think the most important thing is to keep drawing. But anyway, Morpho, I think a lot of people know Morpho. These books are good. They're also designed in a way, like they're binded in a way that's really good because they lay flat on the page. Claire Wendling, I have Claire Wendling. It's Claire Wendling books. I haven't drawn too much from them, but I really like her style. Claire Wendling was one of my first like beginner artist interests. When I was just getting into art, I was like, ooh, I really like the lines and quality of everything. So I got 2 of her books at Lightbox Expo, and I haven't studied from them as much as I did the other ones, but I'll look at them every now and then. Dynamic Life Drawing, Mike Matesi, I talk about him a lot. He was my first art teacher when I first started to learn how to draw. Like, my approach to it was, okay, I like drawing. How do I get good? And one of the first videos that I saw, like, how to get good at drawing was, oh, learn gesture. Okay, cool. I looked up gesture, and then this guy was doing a lot of gesture stuff, and I liked his gesture, and he was a Disney animator, so I was like, okay, cool, let me just take his class. And then I basically just grinded gesture for like 2 years without doing anything else. Like, none of this stuff existed back then. I was just focusing on gesture, and I just zeroed in on that one skill until I was like, all right, cool, now let's start branching out into everything. And then gesture just became a part of my habit of like how I move my hand and everything. So good book, very influential, but not as influential as this book, the Taco book. This is the Bible. This here is the art Bible. Get these 2 books. It doesn't matter what skill you are. Maybe it has less value the higher skill you are, but if you're beginner, it's like, you know, up here value, but then as you get better and better, it kind of goes down. It's still positive, but you know, you might already know a lot of these things. Both of these books, I copied 2 pages a day, non-stop, no breaks, and then on days where I felt good, I copied 4 or 5 pages a day, went through both of them, and then I did it again. And then I did it again. You keep doing it. 2 pages a day, non-stop. And the thing is, though, is that you don't have to think per se. As in, you don't have to think about what to draw today or anything. No art block. You just open the book wherever you have your bookmark or a post-it note or something there. You open it to that page. All right, that's what I'm drawing. No need to like decide anything. You still should think about it. Like, oh, okay, cool. Like, there's a curve here with like a half straight here, and then it goes up and proportions, like this head is this big compared to the body, which is around double the size. All of that stuff, think about that, but you don't have to think about deciding what to draw, because you're on page 2, go to page 3, you're on page 7, go to page 18. So this is the Bible. If you don't know what book to get this. This is also good too, because if you can't afford these books are like $20. If you can't afford them, go to their Pixiv. Taco has a Pixiv where he posts everything, and you just copy everything in the Pixiv. Everything in these books are on the Pixiv, so just go there, and it's all free. Figure Drawing by Design Michael Hampton. Everyone knows Michael Hampton. This was also one of my very first books. I had no idea what I was doing. I fell into the trap of being stuck on the first 2 pages of these books. I was focusing on gesture. I started copying from here. I was also reading, which really messed me up, because I would spend time reading instead of actually drawing. And then by the time I was done reading, I was like, okay, I'm kind of over this right now. And then I stopped drawing. I just didn't draw. I just read it, which, you know, I'm not going to say that there was no value, because I did gain insight and knowledge. But honestly, looking back, I should have just drawn, you know, like maybe like look at it a little bit, but then just start copying every drawing. The thing was, though, this is the other caveat, was that I was stuck on the first few pages because I was so adamant about trying to get my gesture drawings to look like his gesture drawings, and I would just keep practicing the same few drawings over and over again, which isn't inherently wrong, but the issue was that I wasn't moving through the book. Like I was just stuck here. I never really got to the end part. I don't even think I've even like even now I haven't seen like, you know, like many years later I haven't seen the end of this book. I've only really just been stuck up here. So my advice then is to copy the pages. Even if they look a little ugly, just keep moving forward. Keep pushing through, push through the whole book. Like if you're doing taco, if your drawings in the beginning don't look anything like tacos, they look like garbage hot ass, don't worry about it. Maybe if they're looking so bad you want to redo them again, but don't be so stuck. Just keep moving, because what you're gonna do, what's gonna happen is you're gonna finish the book and then you just restart and then just start from the beginning again and then do it all over again. Do full run-throughs rather than save scumming, like going this way and then going back and save scumming. You want to do a full run through and then run it back from the beginning. That'll help you get more value, I believe. So that's what the figure drawing one, that was one of my issues, but this was like my very first year of drawing ever. So, you know, these were just like beginner mistakes that just to be aware of. This is another Bible right here, this next one, The Anatomy for Sculptors. This is for 3D artists, but when you're a 2D artist, you want to learn to draw in 3D. This book, super good. I haven't read anything, but it has all of the anatomy, all of the names, and it also serves as a really good reference. So I don't really copy, like go through and copy. I've done that for a few pages. Like I'll go through a few pages and just copy every 3D rendering and every drawing. Like I would copy these 3D renderings and try to draw them on paper to help me, and even shade them in to try to get my drawings looking 3D, or try to get like solidity in my forms and whatnot. A big use of this would be if you're drawing a pose and say you want to put like an arm facing this way, like a curve, and you're like, okay, I don't know what the anatomy looks like, or I don't know the details. I know how to do the cylinders, but I don't know how to add the secondary and tertiary forms. Go into this book. It'll show you the arm in different angles. It'll show you all the muscles, what they're called, how they connect and everything, and then you just put them all in. So this is a good book. I also recommend just copying all of these books. I recommend just going through and copying all of them if you have any of them. So that's Anatomy for Sculptors. This next one, Rembert Montal figured out. I think this one I got last year. Rembert Montal, I met him. He drew in this book an original drawing, signed it, very cool. I haven't looked at it because I'm focused on these books and the books that are back here, and also other books that I'll show. I mean, I have a collector's piece, I guess. I have a Rembert Montal original in here. I will get to it, maybe, but it's still a cool book. I like his art. He's a riot artist. He's a storyboard artist. He does really good storyboards that I am inspired by. So, but good art. More Watts Atelier, Anatomy Study, Bridgman. I tried learning from this, but you kind of need the video course for it, and I'm not really in the mood. And when I got this, I wasn't in the mood for doing all of that. There are some good drawings. However, I do think that the stuff that you learn from here, you can also learn from Anatomy for Sculptors, and I think this is more universal. Figure drawing is also more universal, but that doesn't mean it's a bad book. I think that you just need the video course with it. The Skillful Huntsman, this is like every concept artist's like main book, or like one of the top that is recommended by concept artists. It shows you the concepting phase. I think it's like 3 concept artists, and they go through their process of working through and designing a world based off of folklore or something. I like read it, glanced at it, but mainly I use it to see process. I mean, I don't really use it that much because there's not that many drawings. There's a lot of words. Like the more words they have, the less I use them, because I don't read art books. I like the books back here, it's like so many drawings or just only drawings. And I think that they have a lot of value because you just have a lot of stuff to practice and copy from. These have value too, because if you read and learn the theory, but for me personally, my theory comes from mentors, me taking classes, and just me talking with people who are better than me and being like, oh yeah, like what's the theory behind that, or what's the theory behind that. But that's my specific case. If you feel like you learn better from reading rather than courses or people or videos, like YouTube videos or whatever, then I would say some of these they have good value in them when you read them. Makoto Shinkai, one of my favorite anime directors. His movies got me into anime when I watched Your Name when it came out. These are like their production books. Same with these ones. These have like their sketches, character designs, and stuff like that. I guess this is just general advice too. Like figure out what IP or what, franchise or whatever, or what something got you into drawing, and look up books about them. If you like, or like Cyberpunk 2077, Keanu Reeves and stuff, CD Projekt Red, then, you know, look up their art books, find their behind the scenes stuff. This book is special. Rubens, the human figure. And also I'm going to talk about the anime and manga characters, but first I'm going to talk about the human figure. I'll try to censor a little bit. This was my very first anatomy book that I've ever gotten. I had no idea what any anatomy is. How I learned anatomy was two things. Proco anatomy course, the free one. I didn't pay any money. There's like 300 episodes. It costs like $300, but you don't have to pay $300. It's all, you just go through the free ones. It's good basics. And then I went through this book. I read a little bit. There's like big blocks of text. It goes into like medical anatomy a little bit. It goes into more detail than you need. I basically just copied every picture. That's my way of learning. This book would have a picture of a bone, like the humerus. And then they'll have the first layer of muscles, and then they'll have the third layer, like the final layer of muscles for like what you actually see. The way I studied it was I drew the bone, fully rendered, copied it exact as I could. And then I redrew the bone again, and then I added in the muscles. So I would have a bone drawing, and then next to the bone drawing, I will have a second bone drawing with this, and then I would redraw the bone a third time, add this layer of muscles, and then add this layer of muscles. I didn't just do one bone drawing and then just add it on. I basically did this one time, and then this one time, which means I needed to do this again, and then I did it. I basically went like this, right? And I think doing that just solidified so much. And I did that with the torso, like in the ribs, for the rib cage. That was brutal. I remember I would like be sitting in my room for like hours just drawing every single rib and even rendering that out, just going super in depth. This is like, you know, midnight lamp, the midnight oil is being burned down. So that's how I went about anatomy. I don't think that's the most effective way, but hey, I know my anatomy now. So I also recommend too for anatomy. I got this book super early. This was also one of the very first art books that I've ever gotten. Learn anatomy ASAP. I think when I got that advice and what I did this, because anatomy is everywhere. If you want to draw characters, if you don't want to draw characters, then whatever. If you want to draw buildings or something or vehicles, then ignore this. But if you want to do any character stuff, you want to draw people, you can. Even if you're starting at ground zero, like you never drew a picture in your whole life since you were in kindergarten or whatever, start drawing anatomy. Like learn anatomy, just because once you know it, and you don't have to deal with it ever again, and it's just gonna improve. It doesn't matter if you can't draw it really. If you know the names and you know what they look like and you know where they are and what muscles they are, that you're just gonna improve. Like even if you can't barely hold up a pencil for longer than 5 minutes or something like that, if you know all the anatomy, you will. That's already like a huge plus, because it's just brain and it's just information. But anyway, that's my spiel on learn anatomy ASAP. As soon as you can, and just learn it all, and just memorize it all, and just treat it like you have to cram for a test. Next book, Manga Chibi Girls. This one was kind of like a meme buy. This was super early too. I think I got like these two books together, because I think here I was like, oh, like, you know, let me see some stylized stuff. Because I think before I was learning anatomy and I was learning gesture, but I was like, let me just draw some chibi. And I just looked up, oh, what are some cool manga chibi books? I got this one. It's pretty beginner. It's pretty simple. It's kind of like the Draw Comics the Marvel Way book or whatever. I never read that book, but this book was pretty good. It showed like 3D form and just got me practicing drawing like circles and putting the center line and stuff. So I still use some of the information in here today, but that's just like foundational bricklaying stuff. This next one, TB Choi's book, Anime Manga Characters. This one I also got signed by her when I met her. Pretty cool. She has her signature in here. But yeah, I got this book when it just came out. I think that TB Choi was one of my first art inspirations. She was one of the first artists that I was like, oh, I want to draw like her. I like her style. I like how she like designs and does her lines and everything. And you can still see it today in how I draw. So I got this book right when it came out, right when it dropped. And then I met her and then I had her sign it. And this one I do There's not as many drawings as I would like, but there is good information. I think it's like a balance of drawings plus info, and you can just go through and copy everything in here. This is another book where you just like flip through, you go page by page and just copy every drawing inside, and you'll improve. After that, you have How to Draw. This book is so technical. I think I got halfway through before I was like, all right, I'm done. I don't really care. I might reference it here and there, but I think that this book, it gives you a lot of technical information, like how to actually do things, like how to actually draw circles in perspective, ellipses in perspective, and how to like reflect them and how to, duplicate them and make sure they're, mathematically the same size. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not an architect, or I'm not, designing spaceships or whatever. I use this book to get the foundation for my feelings. Let me explain what I'm trying to say. By drawing a lot from here, and by understanding all of this, and by learning the information in here, I learned the muscle memory. I developed the intuitive sense of seeing things, and that way, even though that what my perspective is not accurate, I have a sense of it. I have a feeling of, okay, yeah, it should look like this, or this looks off. Let me just fix it and do that. So I think that this book is a good book. It's kind of like one of those, like every artist has one of those books. So take a look at it, see if you like it. But that's what, sketching is. It's super environment and perspective heavy. This book is another classic, another art bible, Bridgman. We all love Bridgman. Bridgman drawing from life. I copied every single picture from here. Every single Bridgman figure drawing. I don't think this is for beginners. I'd say Bridgman does not do a good job at teaching anatomy, in my opinion, because his drawings are pretty ass. Or his drawings are good, but they're not good to learn from if you don't know what you're already looking at. This book here, by Tenten, by Shitong, he is super inspired by Bridgman. Like his stuff, I learned from Bridgman before I got this book. This is like one of my newest books. I see so much Bridgman influence in here, in how he designs and does anatomy and draws. So my recommendation is to do anatomy for sculptors, get an anatomy book and just, learn every anatomy muscle. Even get this book because he does a better job of explaining it and drawing it clearly. And then you go back to the foundation, the source material, which is Bridgman, and you'll see his chicken scratch crazy things will actually make sense, and you'll be able to be like, oh my god, his weird like ankle gear setup, or his like pulley system that he does for the epicondyle of the ulna or whatever. I get it now, and I know how to use it in how he does it or whatever, because I mean, bro was drawing like the freaking Skyrim water wheel designs of like, how can I bring fresh water to an impoverished village in Skyrim that just got attacked by a dragon or whatever. Like, bro was doing some crazy mechanical work and saying that like, this right here, you don't get it? This is a wrist. I'm like, all right, bro. I'm sorry for being stupid, but yeah. So all to say is that his figures are so good. His designing is so good. It's just unclear if you're new to drawing. You just won't really understand why he's doing any of this. So that's why I recommend doing some more of like figure drawing by Michael Hampton, anatomy for sculptors, even like some of the other Force books that talk about anatomy. And this book too. This book is like the best book of art of all time. After you have some foundation and some fundamentals, then you can go into this one and you'll get so much out of it. Next one is the Animator Survival Kit. This was one of my first books too. I tried reading it. I would sit down every night, read a few pages. I did gather some information, but I didn't improve drawing. This book is sort of treated as like a textbook. How I practice and how I improve my animation now is grab a cut from whatever anime, whatever thing that I like. So if it's like a cut from Studio Trigger, Dungeon Meshi, I'll take a clip from that. I capture every single frame, take a screenshot of every single frame, and then I study that. I draw that, I try to redraw that and re-practice while having that reference as like a answer key. if there is a concept that I do not understand, like how do I do an exposure sheet? How do I do spacing charts, right? What is the keyframe? What's the breakdown? Whatever. I go into here, I flip to whatever page that's on, go to the table of contents, flip to whatever page that's on, ignore everything else, and I just look up that part. And I'm like, all right, cool, I got it. I go back to doing my study where I'm like practicing animating a cut from a show. And then if I run into another problem, oh no, like, okay, so I have my 2 keyframes. How do I annotate in a spacing chart between this keyframe and this keyframe where I want like it to be on 3s, but then, you know, favoring one side, whatever. Then I go right into here and being like, oh, so that's what that looks like. I tried reading it. I'm not a reader. Well, I don't want to say I read a lot, but I read novels, right? I just read Normal People. I just finished the trilogy of The 3-Body Problem, right? I'm reading Hail Mary right now, right? So I read. I'm literate. I do critical thinking. I write essays and do literary analysis, all that fun stuff. But for art books, I think that a lot of art books, there's like good information, but I feel like I learn more from just drawing from them. So this book is more like a textbook. I refer to it, but I need to actually learn and improve my drawing by doing different things. Okay, I yap too much. Let's go on to the other half. So we have covered here. We have covered like halfway or over halfway. Now it's this side. And there's stuff up here. So let's go up here. So we zoom in, drawing the head and hands by Andrew Loomis, the kind of like the bane of every artist's existence. These 2 books are part of the first game. This Gui's book was the very first art book that I bought. This one might be like 4 or 5 art book. I got it pretty late. I did not draw anything from here. I think I drew like 2 heads from the very first few pages. And then I was like, I don't really care. I don't really like it. And I think Loomis has its foundational purposes. I think Loomis is like the one book where it's like learn the theory, but you don't have to put any of that stuff into practice. Unless you want to draw like Loomis. Unless you want to draw like Norman Rockwell, Andrew Loomis, Leyendecker, which I did back in the day when I was like, okay, cool, I really want to, you know, draw like the old American Golden Age masters or whatever. Then, you know, here. But I think at this point, I wasn't using the book because I had courses and I was just looking at the courses, and the courses taught the book better than the actual book. But I think that if this is the style that you like, there's a lot of good pictures in here. You can look at that. Gui's, this was the very first book. I think that me, along with a lot of other artists, when we start, we're like, oh my gosh, you know, his art is so nice. I think it's a he. Their art is so nice. I actually did read through this book. I did read and I learned, and I think I got through and I got a good understanding of the process. Was it effective? Not really, because I learned my process from classes, from watching professionals and stuff work. This book goes over that professional process, but I mean, it's like still pictures and a bunch of text. You won't really get it. I'm like watching a video of, you know, person screen sharing their Photoshop, and I'm like, okay, cool. This is how we do it. That's how I learned it. But anyway, this one has good stuff. It's just going his journey. You don't really learn too much, I think. It's just understanding who Gui's is and how they draw their art. Blah, 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 blah. Ian McCaig, Shadowline. This book, I have a fun story. So Ian McCaig wrote a note in here and signed it. When he was signing it, he was asking me like, oh, you know, like what should I write in here? I didn't know this at the time, but I told him, yo, you know, I'm about to get some really good chicken tenders right after this. Why don't you write something about like chicken tenders or whatever? Because he also does like animals and dinosaurs or whatever. He said, oh, I can't do that because I'm vegan or vegetarian. I think vegan. And I was like, oh snap. So I didn't know he was vegan. If I did, I wouldn't have said him to write down like, ooh, give me some chicken tenders or whatever. But he signed it. He put down, I forgot what he wrote. I think he wrote down like, you know, like good wishes, keep drawing, keep at it, king, whatever. But yeah, so I have this book. I like his rendering style. I think I've only looked into here a few times, and I did do some studies from here. And my studies were mainly about rendering, about like, oh, this is how I can render the face or something like that. I just copied one of his renderings of a paintings of a head, and and I just learned from his brush strokes and style. These books here, like a lot of these ones, they're not too good to copy from because of the way they're bound. The pages don't lay flat. So like for these books here, I think you can kind of see it for the Bridgman one of these ones. I like break the binding. I like fold it all the way backwards and like really like put creases in everything so that way the pages stay flat. And these ones, because it's so, these are like hardcover, they don't crease that well, or they don't crease at all. So half the time when I'm like studying from, not the arcane one, this arcane one I don't really study from, but these ones, half the time I contemplate just ripping out the pages because I'm just like you're not serving a purpose for me right now. I need to draw from you. Let me rip out the page. I didn't rip out any pages. But for the arcane one and for some of these, I'll just take pictures of the page. But then they're like warped because the pages is bent or like the picture is whatever. So it's like, so that's why I don't really copy from a lot of these, even the Kim Jung-gi ones. But for the arcane book, this is another one. Like I like arcane. A lot of people like arcane. I like League of Legends. I played League of Legends way back in like season 2 or whatever, 2012. This book is an example of find an IP that you like and find an art book of it, and that way you can see the process, see the design, and then you can study from it. So I did study from this a little bit, mainly Jinx. I like the explorations of Jinx. I do want to look back into it for steampunk designs because I think Arcane has a lot of shape language and design, so I can probably, I'll look through this again to find more inspiration. But because of the binding, it's hard to like study from, so I think I might do like pictures next time I look into it, but I haven't looked into it for a while. This is mainly like a keepsake. These two Kim Jung-gi books, they are signed because I took classes at Kazone Art and I met a lot of the people there. But yeah, they were also doing some signings of Kim Jung-gi stuff way back in the day. I think I looked into it a little bit, but I don't really study from them. These ones are mainly just for me to keep if you want to learn design and if you want to be inspired by shape and style, then sure. But I haven't really opened these. But yes, these are signed, which is pretty cool. Tangled, my favorite movie of all time before Your Name. Your Name is my favorite movie of all time. Tangled was my favorite movie of all time before. I have the art book of Tangled. I love Glenn Keane. I like the artists and the behind the scenes of it. I haven't really looked into it too much. I think I studied a few of the gesture drawings in here, but that's about it. Never really looked into it. This is more a keepsake. Spider-Man. There's some really good concept art in here. I never really looked at it. But when I did look into it, there is good concept art. So if you want to see good concept art, you can look at this. These books, I used to play a lot of D&D in college. These books, I don't use in like a traditional way, but the Monster Manual and the Dungeon Master's Guide, these two, they're actually pretty good reference for like rendering and drawing. Like the illustrations in here, they're pretty good. And also for like weapons and stuff, it's pretty good. So we went over this whole bottom shelf, and you can kind of tell now that this side is a lot more practical use, and I've used it a lot more. And here is more like stuff that I don't use. Let's look at these three. These ones I use occasionally, very, very specific, but these are like prized treasures. These are storyboards for movies. First one is the storyboard by Makoto Shinkai. What is this one? This one was 5 centimeters per second. Yes, 5 centimeters per second. Very nice. I haven't really looked at this though. I'm trying to get the storyboards for Your Name, but these ones I have looked at. So this one is Kaguya Hime no Monogatari by Takahata Isao. One of my favorite movies. One of the best Ghibli movie. This storyboard is crazy. All of these Ghibli movie storyboards are amazing. This one is Sento Chihiro no Kamikakushi, which is Spirited Away, Hayao Miyazaki. And this one is Majo no Takyubin, Kiki's Delivery Service, Majo no Takyubin. Also, these two storyboards I've used for my inspiration or for just reference in my own storyboards if I want to see how it's done, how to annotate things like that. So these ones are really nice. I really like them. If you're a storyboard artist, it's good to get some, pro storyboards So that way you have a frame of reference for how to do certain things. I come from a film background, so that's why this is important to me. But these are a lot of the physical ones. But now it's time for, you see the folder up here, the Fountain of Youth. The Fountain of Youth. There's like, these are my digital books. I have my digital book library. My PDF book library is so big. I have a whole separate hard drive for it. But these are some of the main ones. So these four is all from the same Japanese animator called Toshi. Let's go for... So this first one, drawing techniques for people. 人物作画テクニック. So this is drawing techniques for the people. All of these kind of just go in order. So if take your screenshots and try to find them, reverse image search these bad boys. The next one, this one is the English basic rules of character drawing, essentially. アニメーターが教えるキャラ描画の基本法則. So fundamental animatorから. So basically an animator teaches you, you know, how to draw characters, the basic rules of character drawing. This one, and this one has like the English kamiwaza sakuga, which is basically like god tier sakuga. It's ゼロから学ぶプロの技. So pro techniques. And then this one, line and shading. Toshi, if you just look up Toshi, you can probably just find a bunch of these books. 戦闘影アニメーターから学ぶキャラクター作画術. So it basically is just saying like line and shade, character drawing, learn that from an animator. So these are all just like character drawings. All of these are good. They all kind of bleed into each other. I look at them and I'm just like, the pictures, the information in here looks like the information in here, looks like the information in here, looks like the information up here, but they're all different. So you just have, if you have all of these, you just go through each one and just copy every drawing. You just copy every single drawing, and then by the end, you're a legend. You know how to shade. This is such a big thing too. Like people who don't know how to render, people don't know how to shade. Oh my god, dude, look at Genga, look at Sakuga, look at animators, because this is literally the first step to like semi-realism or realistic rendering, is separating the light from the shadow. And if you only have two tones, animators, we got it, dude. We know what's up. We know how to separate the lights and the shadows. This next book, this book has been gaining popularity in some circles that I'm in. The Chinese book by Xiao Wei Chun. So if you want to try to type that, but you can just type in anatomy, human anatomy for artists. The book is called 人体结构原理与绘画教学. It's just human anatomy for artists. And what this book is a fundamental book, similar to the other Chinese book that I had, that I recommend, which is by Tenten. This one back here, this picture is better. This one back here, this book is just as good. It has figures. It breaks it down, fundamentals like basic style. It tells you perspective. It tells you how to draw. It tells this is gesture. Studied this one. The Chinese artists know what's up. It's all in Chinese too, but I mean, people are like, oh, you know, I'm gonna like I'm gonna hold up, you know, Google Translate to it. Screw that, bro. You don't need to read it. Don't read it. Just draw it. Just look at this picture and just draw it. That's it. Like, look at this and just. And if this looks way too hard, I mean, there's easier poses, but if this looks way too hard, I have a stack of tracing paper that I got from like an art store, and I put the tracing paper over the book, over whatever, or if it's like a digital book or something, I print it out and I put tracing paper over it, and then I trace it. But I don't trace it like the lines exactly. I trace the process of building it. So if it's something like this, what I would trace with tracing paper is I would draw out, this is where the cranium sits. Okay, so this is where this goes. And then this is where this goes. And then I would draw it, and then I would just try to draw it right next to it with regular paper. Use your resources, use your tools to learn. Of course, obviously, because tracing is kind of like a boogeyman word, I never show people, you know, tracings are not final works, it's just a study. Like, if you're a super beginner and this looks so complicated to you, then I probably wouldn't do this drawing. I would probably look at any of the other books that are more beginner friendly, but you would probably do like, watch a video on how to do gesture, and then you'll be like, okay, so I'm kind of seeing like the angle of the hips. Oh, cool, this is the circle for the rib cage. Oh, this is the step for the hip. Oh, this is the gluteus maximus. Going down to the thigh, down to the calf. The soleus muscle. So cool. Human anatomy for artists. This book, absolutely goated. So the next part, Furikuri. So I'm a big Studio Trigger fan. The Furikuri Design Works book. This one has all the character design. So I'll have a lot of like Studio Trigger, Studio Gainax, animation like sketches and work. For instance, this one, Kill la Kills, Sakuga Genga stuff. So it has like a lot of these things in them. I think that a lot of these books are good, even if you don't like drawing anime or if your goal isn't to draw anime, because you can see two things: line quality and shadow shape design. Little Witch Academia, Creator's Sketchbook, very nice. More just, you know, extra sketchbooks. I like Panty and Stocking, classic, getting a lot of their like behind the scenes stuff on how things look. Or Kill la Kill. This one, defined Japanese animation like sketchbooks, because studying sketchbooks are great because you get to see how to sketch, what it should look like. And there's just so much stuff to copy. All of this stuff, copy. You can see how to do like character design sheets and how to do turnarounds. And also for animators too, you just get to see a lot of like line energy and pose and gesture and everything like that. This book too, more Yoshinari books, Deadwood designs, boom, just more sketches. Find an artist that you like, find a few artists that you like, and then try to see if you can get their sketches. So like in my case, Yoshinari, perfect. He has a lot of sketches that I can take from, and I'll just copy. When you're scrolling Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, or whatever for like the big final artworks, you're going fast for one. You're not really studying them. And two, you're kind of seeing the utmost 30 hours, 50 hours in polish work. Seeing these shows you the roughness, trying to figure it out, right? Like these lines, they're full of energy. They're not scratchy, but they're like they're searching lines. They're trying to figure out where they are. It teaches you how to sketch, basically, is what I'm trying to say. All of the art books, these three are the GOATs. Actually, I'm gonna take one out of the GOAT. This one. Not that it's not the GOAT, but I just haven't used it. These two are the GOAT. This one is the GOAT. This one is also GOATed. This one's like pretty good, but I don't know if I put it at GOAT status. Anyway, that's my whole art book connection. I have a million more that I haven't shared, but I'm tired of talking. Keep studying.